Hey y'all, I'm Hope. Welcome back to my channel. Today is the 26th of December. We're in the last few days of the year, which means I'm in full planning mode. I'm getting ready for 2024. I'm looking at my video plans for January. I'm trying to get ready for my last semester of my master's degree, if all goes well. Last semester, but that means that I'm in the midst of doing all my planning and putting together my 2024 bullet journal. So today I thought it'd be fun to go through this and show you what I've got set up for 2024, the kinds of spreads I'm going to be using, and talk through some how I use my bullet journal. Mine is not very aesthetic, and I kind of do that intentionally. I love watching bullet journal videos at this time of year, seeing everybody setting them up and setting up their reading journals and everything, and it's just not me. I do not have the patience to do all of that beautiful art. I also don't have the skill to do all of that beautiful art. I did try to do some sort of arty, quarterly divider page, and it didn't happen because the plan I had was to do something with Baldur's Gate 3 because I've been playing that obsessively lately, and I wanted to do an overlay of some of my favorite characters, and it turned out that my skill did not match the vision, and so I decided instead to just continue making every page practical and usable. So that's what we're doing instead. But I just want to look through this, show you guys how I'm using it, and hopefully encourage more people to use the system. I think it's really good. It's not obviously going to work for everyone, but for me personally, the flexibility of it, being able to put whatever I need to put in here, really works for me. And I've also figured out a kind of planning system for my weeks that works really well for me, where I have everything just kind of in front of me. I used to do the daily logging, and I just don't do that anymore because it doesn't work quite as well for me, where I have to flip back through constantly to see what I have outstanding. But I will do a weekly page where everything I need to get done that week is on one side, all my school stuff for the week is on the other side, and the middle part is my calendar. So I think let's just dive into looking at this, and we're also going to be putting the stickers on the cover together because I haven't done that yet, and that's kind of the last thing I need to do before I start filling out the journal itself. So let's just dive in. Okay, so we're gonna hope that the camera doesn't fall over. It does not like this angle, this tripod doesn't, but we're just gonna hope for the best. But this is my 2024 journal. It doesn't have any stickers on it yet, but I do have a few options. So I think my favorite ones out of this stack are ones that I bought while I was on a trip with my family. We have Howdy and Yeehaw, which I feel need to go on the cover somewhere. And then the other one I think I'm really determined to put on here somewhere is This Is Getting Dicey, which my best friend gave me this one for I think Christmas last year. And this one I think is really funny because she and I played Greedfall together, and there's a character in that game that's one of the companions who has a big two-handed sword, and he will sometimes yell when he's jumping into a fight. He will yell, "Look out, things are about to get dicey," when he's, pulling out the big sword and jumping into the fight. So it makes me laugh, makes me think of Kurt and of playing that game with my friend, so I feel that one really needs to go on there as well. Some of my other options are, I also have another one for my friend, which is a Dragon Age Inquisition sticker that's all of the different companions. So I think this one could be really fun on here. I love Dragon Age Inquisition. And then I also have a whale. Solid choice, I feel like. And then I have a couple that I got from other booktubers from their Etsy shops or their stationery shops. So I got this one, and I cannot for the life of me remember this person's name off the top of my head, but I will make sure that her channel and her shop are linked in my description down below. I don't know why her name is escaping me at the moment, but I'll make sure she's linked. And then I also have this bear sticker that I bought from Leanne over at Literary Diversions from her Novel Menagerie Etsy shop, and I love this bear. So those are all my options. I actually think I'm going to set the stickers aside for the moment and make a decision on that later, just because I cannot decide. I know which ones I most want on here, but I have so many good options, and I'm not sure how I want to lay them out on the cover yet. So we'll come back to that, but for now, let's open it up and see what's inside. So this particular journal, I really like the addition to because it has this grid guide, and it also has some dots on the later pages, which I'll point out, that lets you kind of quickly divide halfway points and the third points, when you're 1/3 of a page. Then there's this useless bit. I usually glue these together and turn this into a quote page. I didn't do it for 2023 because I didn't have a quote in mind, but I think I definitely want to do that again for 2024. And then I also have the contact information page, which y'all don't need my contact info. So that's the only thing I think I've actually filled out so far, was just to put that in there in case I lost the journal. Then there's like a key. The only additional key I have is I use triangles to mark when I have like a video that's planned for that day, but not yet completed and like ready to go and uploaded. And then one that like a filled in triangle when I've actually like made the video. And there's also this intentions page. I think this is probably going to be kind of hard to read at the top, but there's like a few pages that are like set up already before you start the journal that have like a specific use, like the key, and then this intentions page where you're supposed to write your intentions. I don't know what I'm writing here yet for 2024, but I will figure that out later and put something there. Then there's the index, which I usually only use like one page of because I make a journal last me the whole year. I'm not typically adding additional things to it. I don't really use my bullet journal for anything other than my like kind of weekly calendar, my to-do list, just kind of keeping track of things I need to remember. I'm not usually using it for like other planning and things. I find that digital tools work a little bit better for me for planning stuff, especially for like my video planning, because I change my mind a lot. So I much prefer to have something where I can just like make changes on the fly very easily. So I don't typically do that in here, but there's like 4 pages of index. I never use that many. And then there's the future log, which I always divide this way. I think this is like the standard way from the original bullet journal method, but I find this works pretty well for me. I have just like the month and the little calendars that I have drawn in. This is probably like one of the longest pieces of setting up my journal every month, or every year. But like I'll go in and fill these out later with like any upcoming deadlines I have, birthdays I need to remember, events I need to remember, stuff like that. That's what's going to go on this page. Just stuff that's happening in that month that I want to make sure I don't forget. Or if I have a task that I have written down at some point and then rescheduled for like a specific time in the future, that will also go on these pages. But I have that for the whole year. So 6 months per page. And then also you can see here I've started color coordinating. I will pick 2 colors every year and I alternate the colors just to help myself like visually distinguish between different things in my journal and kind of quickly skim for what I'm looking for. So the tools that I'm using for my journal most of the time are like a plain black ballpoint pen, and then for setup I have a Sharpie and like a fine point Sharpie, and then I pick like 2 Tombow markers every year because I have a bunch of Tombow markers that I don't use for anything else other than occasionally I use them for highlighting in my books. But this year's colors are gonna be this kind of fun lilac color and this soft gold color. I don't know why, that just felt like the vibe for the year. So those are the colors. Then after that, I'm starting a different method for my recurring costs, but I always keep track of like anything I have that's like a subscription or something that renews periodically. So this one is, I'm gonna be doing this one a little bit differently because last year I did like quarters of the page, and like one section was all my monthly stuff, one was my yearly stuff, one was my like quarterly stuff, and then one section was where I wrote anything that had gotten canceled. So I wanted to make sure those weren't like popping up in my like credit card statements or anything. But this year I'm gonna be trying this where I have like month, quarter, year. And I'm just going to write the different items on the lines here and then put a dot over here to tell myself how frequently it renews. And then I'm going to write the cost in pencil because sometimes that changes, like my car insurance cost will change, usually going up. Very exciting. But then also I've had like, I reduced my PlayStation subscription. I have like a PlayStation Plus subscription and I dropped down to a lower tier. So like I want to be able to change stuff over here if I need to. So this is what I'm trying for the year. I haven't done it this way before, but I think this is going to work a lot better for me, for my purposes. And then over here I have the first of my like random projects, which is that I'm trying to play all of the Nancy Drew games. So this is the full list of all of the games, and I don't think it shows up super well, but everything that's already marked off is something I played prior to the beginning of 2024. I played a few in the last few weeks, so I had to come in and mark off a few more. And then I'm planning to use the gold color to mark off stuff that I actually finish during 2024. Now we have one of my favorite spreads, which is my Read in 2024 spread. I love the way that this looks. It takes forever to set up, and I kind of always hate myself a little bit when I'm drawing all these little boxes, but I love the way it looks, and this is just for me to like compare how much I'm reading across years. I never really like having just like a set goal of like read as much as I can. I want to read things that I'm really loving, but I do still read quite a bit. I read definitely more than average, and I just like having this as a visual reminder of like how much I read. So I usually will color code this, so like whatever I read in January will probably be lilac, and then we'll go to February will be gold, and then just back and forth between the two colors throughout the year. I just like being able to like visually see how much I read month to month. And then I've also written in some years here, which is like I read 63 books in 2020. I read 73 books in 2022. I read 58 books in 2021. So then at the end of the year, when I'm finished filling this out for 2024, I'll be able to see kind of where my reading fell amongst my other years. And my plan is to have like the last 5 years. I just started doing this though, so like I don't, in fact, I really just started keeping track of how many books I'm reading. I think I read like 9 books in 2019, and that was just the ones that I counted, because I didn't start tracking my reading until the end of 2019. So eventually I'll have like 5 years worth, and then like I'll just drop off that like the furthest back year as I go forward. I just want to be able to like see how my reading is doing in comparison with other years. I think it's fun, and I love the way this spread looks. I think I can actually show you what it's looking like currently for 2023. I haven't filled in for December yet. I always do the new ones at the end of the month, so I can just do them all in one go. But this is, did I do this? Oh, I did never do November. Okay, well, this is everything through October of this year, but it kind of looks like this once I have filled it out. I forgot to add November, so I will do that later. I didn't realize I hadn't done November yet, but that's what that's eventually going to end up looking like, and I just love the way it looks. I find it very satisfying to fill out throughout the year. Then I have my TBR tracker. My goal for 2024 is to read as many books as I can off of my currently owned TBR, especially my physical TBR. So I'm really wanting to track this more closely this year, and I've decided to try a different format from what I used last year. So I'm going to be writing my starting number for each quarter here, and then I'll make a note of all the physical, audiobook, and ebook books I read off of my own TBR, and then anything I bought new and then immediately read, and then the last remaining of whatever I bought new and didn't read. So then I can then have my final number for the quarter, which will become like my starting number for the next quarter. Just want to keep track of that and really make sure that I am reading down my TBR, because I've done a terrible job of this in previous years, and I really want to be consistent with it in 2024. Then over here I have my priority TBR, which, spoiler, I guess, slightly, I think this is going up after the priority TBR, then I don't know, I'll look at my schedule later. Again, haphazard planning. But these are my books that I chose randomly out of my own TBR to prioritize for the year, and I'm going to be kind of marking them off and jotting down the date that I finish them as I go. Then I also have my Dark Academia project I've been working on for ages. I'm hoping to still do this in 2024. I need to give myself more time. I keep just not giving myself enough time and trying to take it on when I'm very busy with like school stuff or other life things. So I wanted to split this up and make it like a year-long project instead, and maybe see if I could finally do it. If not, I'm giving up after 2024, because this is ridiculous. This is the 3rd year I've tried to do this. But this is something else I would really like to do. And similarly, I'm just going to be marking them off and then writing the date I finish them, unless I DNF them, in which case I'll like mark out the whole line and write DNF. So that's kind of the plan there. And then you may notice that the coloring is different here, because this is the Goodreads Choice project I want to do, where I'm reading from different genres. So I have mystery, thriller, fantasy, science fiction, and horror. And I decided to do like colored by genre instead. Just, again, visually, it helps me distinguish what's what. I do have already 2 books I've read off of here that I read like over the summer in 2023, so these ones I was well ahead of the game on, but the rest of these I've got to get to in 2024, so I'm looking forward to trying to do this. I think this is not quite as ambitious as the last time I tried to do a Goodreads Choice project, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I can actually read all of them. And then my very last kind of project thing I've got going on is my These Books Will Self-Destruct list, where if I don't read these, I have to unhaul them. And I really wanted to like make sure that I keep these at the top of my mind, so that I'm not just kind of like coming back at the end of the year and being like, oh, I have to unhaul all of these because I never touched them. So just kind of keeping track of that. There's especially a few here that like I really want to try and get to. So like kind of especially like these 5 maybe. So I'm, you know, just trying to keep these at the top of my mind. Very last thing here, I think, before the month. Yeah, so this is my quarterly favorites. This was going to be a Baldur's Gate 3 overlay page, and then I realized that my skills did not match my planning. They did not match the vision, so it's not that. And instead, I'm going to put quarterly favorites here. I just thought it would be fun to have a page where I'm kind of writing down things that I particularly love throughout the quarter. This could be books I love, it could be songs, it could be like a quote I really like, it could be a game I played, just stuff that I really particularly enjoy during that quarter to kind of like have that positive reflection time at the end of each quarter. And then next, monthly spreads. So this is pretty much the like basic monthly spread. There's stickers that come with this version that have like the dates and the days of the week. So I use the stickers typically, and then there's like the month sticker. I like how quick it is to set up using the stickers. So here I'll be writing out like stuff that's coming up, and then if interesting things happen throughout the month, I'll like add them here. But it's just kind of keeping track of what's coming up. And then I have my task list for the month. I have never needed more than half a page for month's tasks. If I needed to, I could like, you know, split it half and then do like 2 columns, but I've never needed to do that. And then I also am trying to be more on top of my chores, basically. So this is like a habit tracker, but it's just like the number of times per month I want to make sure I'm doing these things. So it's stuff like taking out the trash and recycle, which I need to do like once a week, cleaning the toilet, watering my plant, adding money to my savings account, which I need to do like once a month if I can do it. So just stuff like that that I want to make sure that I'm remembering to do more than once. And occasionally like once, but like mostly more than once. So that's just for me to keep track of, have I done this thing yet this month? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I have not set up the week yet, so we're not going to look at the week, but I can show you what a previous week would look like. Okay, I think that works. So this is what a weekly spread looks like for me. The blue ones are the days. The pink are like I have a notes section for any like miscellaneous notes so they don't go the specific day. Then I have a to-do list on this side, and then my school stuff on this side divided by class. So I find that this is really helpful for me for kind of keeping things both at the top of my mind, but also like in clear categories, so I know what do I have left for this class, what do I have left for this class. So anything I need to do that's just kind of like a general around the house thing, or like, oh, do I need to charge my laptop or stuff like that. So this is what that typically looks like for me, and I'll be setting those up. I just haven't done January yet because I haven't gotten around to it. That's the only reason. But that is what a weekly spread looks like for me. So that was my 2024 bullet journal, how I've got it set up so far, and I'm really happy with how it's turned out. I think it's going to be really useful for the coming year. I did finally decide on my sticker placements. So we have got Yeehaw and Howdy. This is getting dicey, and this cool bear on the front. The bear does make me think of Halcyon a little bit since I've been playing so much Baldur's Gate, so I kind of decided I wanted to have that on the front. And then I've got my Inquisition companions on the back because they always have your back. And also I have my Oh Whale because it makes me laugh. So I'm really happy with this. I decided to save the sunflowers for another year, but I'm just really pleased with how this has turned out. And I like my stickers on the front. I always love having some silly stickers on my bullet journal. It just brings me joy every time I have to get it out to work on something, and I think they're fun. So I'm looking forward to using this for the coming year, and I hope that if you've been thinking about starting a bullet journal, maybe this inspires you to give it a shot. I think it's a really useful method. It's obviously not going to work for everyone, and I know plenty of people who've tried it and ended up not liking it, but I just find it really useful, and I also think that it can be a little intimidating to get into because there is such a like culture online of having these like beautiful artsy bullet journals, which I think are incredible, and I'm so impressed by people who can do that, but it just doesn't work for me. And so I like putting mine out there as an example of one that's a little simpler. There's a little bit of planning involved, a little bit of like getting a ruler out and drawing some straight lines, but mine is much more geared towards being just like purely useful for me. There's not really a lot of aesthetic thought put into it, and so I hope that my bullet journal being out here on the internet helps inspire a few people and maybe make the system feel less intimidating to people who aren't as artsy, who are like me and just want something that's like totally usable and not super like pretty or time intensive. So that is kind of my goal with putting this out there, and I really hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you have, I hope you'll consider giving it a like, maybe even subscribing to see what comes next. I'm currently posting every Tuesday and Saturday, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.